All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, as we all know, it's week 6 of the NFL season, and the 3-2 Jets are going to be traveling to Lambeau to take on the 3-2 Packers. And I'm joined by my buddy Alex from Bossorowski Productions. What's up, man? How's it going?
Going good, man. Excited for this week. Last week was not so fun against the other New York team. So hopefully we see a better result for us Packers fans this week.
Yeah, dude, it was in London, and honestly, I didn't catch the game. I was actually watching soccer instead, but I caught the highlights, and it just seemed like Barkley just went off. It just seemed like he was having a great game, and Green Bay didn't really have an answer.
Their defense didn't really have an answer for him and Danny Jones, and it's kind of been a running theme for the Packers defense to make lesser quarterbacks look amazing. So it's been an issue, and we'll get into it here in this video. But it's been an issue.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that, funny enough, later on in the video, but I guess we'll just jump right into it. What you said that, like what you just said, like lesser quarterbacks or, average to below average, they tend to have better games against Green Bay's defense. And I'm looking at the defense and, the coaching staff, I feel like has been there for, like it's an established staff. And, guys like Stokes, like, I see you got the jersey behind you and everything like that. Like, I like a lot of the Packers defensive players, Rashawn Gary as well. What's happening defensively for Green Bay?
Man, it's a lot of things, but as you said, on paper, like this defense, super, super talented. Like you go through every position group and there's pretty much a star there. And I think a lot of it boils down to scheme. And there's been a lot of soft zone coverage throughout this year. And mainly it started last year, the hire of Joe Barry. They had a decent defense last year. I think they were top 10 in most categories. And this year there was very high expectations. Okay, this defense could be a top 3 unit, myself included. I kind of said that, hey, this defense could be a top 3 unit, but we saw what happened week 1 with the Vikings, Justin Jefferson. Week 2 look a lot better, but that was also just Justin Fields. But recently, man, it's just been the soft zone coverage where Joe Barry is kind of sitting back, allowing the teams to throw across the middle, crosser routes, have guys running across the middle wide open. Darius Slayton last week on the Giants, the Packers made him look like Justin Jefferson. I mean, this dude like caught everything across the middle, and I can't blame him. I mean, he was wide open every time. Danny Jones did a wonderful job. The Giants did a wonderful job of, finding guys over the middle wide open. And it was just simple, soft zone by the Green Bay Packers defense. They've been reluctant to go man-to-man coverage, although they have the personnel to do so. Jaire Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, Adrian Amos, Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, all these fast, talented guys, yet they're kind of just sitting back, allowing teams to pick and choose what to do on their defense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, all those names that you just rattled off, like I would love to have all those guys on the Jets roster. Like they're all studs. But Green Bay, I felt like really the Packers were like in the headlines a lot this offseason, whether it's, the Aaron Rodgers, the contract extension, Davante Adams leaving, everything like that. I also feel like the Packers lost quite a bit of talent. Obviously Adams is the headliner, but Za'Darius Smith, Scantling, Billy Turner on the offensive line, another guy I liked. But, with that said, I still viewed this Packers team as a playoff team. And granted, we're only 5 weeks into the season and they're 3-2, right? Same as the Jets. They can still easily get to the playoffs, but where do you stand right now, like confidence level wise in this Packers squad?
Now, the Packers generally always play a lot better in November and December, but they usually at least show you something in September and October. You go, okay, well, we kind of see it, which the only thing I'll say I kind of see is Aaron Jones, right? But we see time and time again, just like last week, they're not giving him the ball. The dude is number 1 in yards per carry, yet 19th in overall carries. It doesn't make any sense to me. Same with AJ Dillon. Kind of a slow start, was doing really good against the Giants last week. And then we have a 3rd and 2 and a 4th and 2 knocking on the goal line to tie the game. And they throw 2 straight passes batted away by the defensive line. It didn't make any sense to me there. I still am confident though, as a Packers fan. I mean, you kind of always have to be. If Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback's position, you always have a chance to go into the playoffs and potentially, make a Super Bowl run. I do think they will turn this thing around. It's just is very ugly right now. The offense isn't clicking. There isn't much going on the passing game, anything deep. Aaron Rodgers hasn't really connected at all in the deep game, 20 plus yards. The defense looks shaky. Dudes aren't really in position, not, communicating well. They should be a lot better on both aspects of this team. And surprisingly, the special teams actually looks really good. And last year it was probably the worst special teams unit I've ever seen. So that is the one lone bright spot right now.
Right, man. I hear you. So I don't know if you've seen any of the Jets games so far this season, 3-2 again. Some of their wins have been like pretty crazy, like against Pittsburgh and Cleveland,
Yeah.
kind of just fourth quarter pushes, especially in the Browns game. Like literally,
Yeah.
we're down two
That was
scores.
insane. That was
Yeah,
insane.
under 2 minutes left. Some could say, hey, the Jets look absolutely fantastic in the fourth quarter. Some could say it's a lucky win. Where do you kind of stand on that?
Well, I actually live right near University of Delaware, so I'm a Joe
Okay.
Flacco guy. So when I saw him, winning these games and whatnot, I was hyped. I was really hyped. And I wanted to ask you just briefly, Zach Wilson just coming back. Did you want Flacco to stay at starting, or were you full blown? Okay, let's throw Zach Wilson when he's ready, put him in.
No, man, I was like, I definitely appreciate Joe Flacco, what he did. I mean, that Browns game was awesome. And throughout Flacco's career, I was never really the biggest fan, but once he got to the green and white, I'm like, okay, you know what? He's pretty cool. He's not really sabotaging Zach Wilson. He's not trying to cause problems or anything. It seems like he's a solid veteran backup option. And I really, really was impressed with what and even last season, he was with the Jets when they had Gase as well. So,
Yeah.
these last couple of seasons, I really like Flacco. But no, I mean, Wilson was the second overall pick. You draft
Yeah,
the guy second overall to take your franchise to new heights. I don't want to keep a guy like that on the bench, especially if he was healthy, ready to go.
definitely.
I guess you could kind of make an argument like, hey, you got to go with the hot hand. But at that point in time, I believe the Jets were coming off a loss against the Bengals. So,
Yes.
you gotta roll with Zach.
Yeah, definitely.
But what do you think the Jets can do? Or yeah, what do you think the Jets can do to have success against Green Bay?
Oh man, I basically touched on it with this whole defensive thing. I mean, if they run any sort of play action, Joe Barry has not been adjusting at all at halftime, like at all.
I was
So
gonna ask that. Yeah, the halftime
the
adjustments.
the Giants started running into a lot of bootlegs, which they weren't expecting because Danny Jones had his hurt ankle. So they were running a lot of bootleg action, and the Packers just didn't adjust. TJ Slayton, our defensive lineman, actually had a quote on that, pretty much saying, "Hey, we didn't expect it to happen, and when they started doing it, we just didn't adjust." So I don't know what's going on there with that whole adjustment things, but if the Jets want to win, they got to establish the run game early. And I saw Breece Hall; he looks like the real deal. Establish a run game early and attack the middle of the field. Outside of the numbers, it's hard to go against the Packers. We know what Jair Alexander is. Eric Stokes had a bad game last week, but is still a good cornerback. Rasul Douglas. But the middle of the field, the safety play has been horrible. Adrian Amos has not been playing up to par. Darnell Savage has not been playing good at all. Devondre Campbell hasn't looked like his all-pro self from last year. Quay Walker's been kind of shaky. He's been a good rookie, first-round pick, and I really like what I saw from him. But there is times where you're kind of there sitting there scratching your head. One last week where the Giants ran double crossers and Campbell and Quay were supposed to switch. Quay didn't, left his zone wide open. It was like a 40-yard gain. So if the Jets want to have success, you got to attack the middle of the field, middle crossers, attack that weak zone, and just fire it away. Find the wide open guys across the middle because they'll be there.
I hear you, man. One thing I'm a little nervous about is the cornerbacks for the Packers because, last week against the Dolphins, the Jets offense had success. Zach Wilson didn't turn the football over, kind of managed the game effectively. And obviously they had success on the ground as well. But, Byron Jones didn't play. Xavier Howard did not play. Obviously the third string quarterback, 7th round rookie Skylar Thompson essentially played the entire game with Bridgewater getting knocked out early. So I kind of had a feeling, hey, the Jets should win this game. They're at home. I felt pretty comfortable, right? Especially when Bridgewater was ruled out for the rest of the game. I'm like, you know what? The Jets should win this one.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a massive test for Zach Wilson and these wide receivers specifically to be going up against, literally one of the best cornerbacks in football, arguably the best cornerback in football in Alexander and Eric Stokes, who's a guy who I really, really like. But, and by the way, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, battle of the brothers here offensively. I wonder if like, either side has like some insider information on one another, or something crazy like that. But hey, I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. The thing with LaFleur is it's always been a thing when he was over in San Fran. It's always that battle, and San Fran usually got the better of us. But yeah, I'm super excited for this one. Like you said, the cornerbacks, they didn't do too well last week. I'll touch back on that real quick before we head out of here.
Yeah.
The cornerbacks. So Jair let up 4 catches. Stokes let up about 6. Rasul had like 3 penalty calls, which resulted in first downs. They did not have a good game last week against a very, very banged up New York Giants receiver room. So I was really surprised to see that. But they are a talented group, and I do expect them to bounce back.
Yeah, and plus the game too was in England. You don't know like what was going
Yeah.
on like in the lead up, with the flight over and everything like that. The
Yeah.
London games, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like the London games, I love them, right? Because they're early in the morning and you essentially get like like three blocks of football throughout the
Yeah.
day. Really four if you want to count in the night game. But I don't know. I just feel like teams don't play their best in those England games. And
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with the flight over. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Jet
It's
lag.
crazy,
Yeah,
but yeah.
exactly. It was
But
my
no,
first
I mean,
time experiencing it as a Packers fan, so it was interesting.
yeah. The Jets have done it. I think a couple of times.
Okay.
I remember definitely with I remember the Jets actually beat Miami uh years ago back in I think it was the London game. Yeah, where Tannehill was the quarterback. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
It was
Yeah.
crazy, but I love the I love the England games. But all of Alex's links are linked down below in the description. Of course, Twitter, Instagram, and his YouTube channel. Thanks so much for hopping on, man.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me. Super excited for this game.
Yep. And as always, go Jets.